So in this video, we are going to be looking at some characters to learn how they got clarity as far as their purposes is concerned. And this will include biblical characters like Joseph, David, and Esther, and also people from our recent history like Dr. Myles Munroe. And we're going to learn how did these people get clarity as far as their purpose was concerned, because let's be honest, for the most part, people already have an inclination in their heart. You feel like I am called to the music ministry, or I am called to lead in the field of business or sports, but you just feel like you don't know where to start. I mean, it's one thing to have an idea that that is the direction in which I'm going, and it's another thing to know how you want to go about that. But first of all, I want to say this in and of itself is already wrong, because for the most part, what we really say we want clarity, most people just want God to spell things out for them plainly, as we're going to see in this video. So most people just want that they'll wake up and God will tell them, today you would head north for 100 meters, then you take a right, and then you're going to see a building. You get into that building, walk 10 steps, then you turn left, you walk again another 10 steps, there'll be a door to your right, knock 2.5 times on that door, and you get in, and there is a man sitting there. Greet him and then say this or say that, and he's going to give you that opportunity. And that's how you get started on fulfilling your purpose. And then come back tomorrow, I'm going to give you detailed step-by-step directives on what you should be doing. And that's what most of us want, if we are honest, but it doesn't really work that way. The first character we see is Joseph. Joseph had the revelation, or the initial inclination through the dreams, that he was called to lead, something like a king, to rule. But from being just the second to the last son of a very rich man, and clearly not likely to run any kingdom around, because his dad was definitely not a king to say he's going to be the heir to the throne, it was almost impossible for Joseph to see how he was going to live from one of the youngest sons, who was not even allowed to go out and lead the sheep, to be able to someday lead a nation. But one thing we see from Joseph's story, and is what we're going to be seeing from all the other characters, is that Joseph didn't wait for a big country, a big royalty status for him to start doing what he was born to do, which in essence is to rule, or to lead, or to, you can call it to king, to be a king, or to king. If you use, let's create that as a verb, you are kinging or something. So even when he is in prison, Joseph is in quotes kinging. So he kinged while in prison by leading and administrating and making the entire prison process so much better that the wardens literally handed over the tax to him. And prior to the prison, when he was sold as a slave in Potiphar's house, he operated the same way. He didn't look at it and say, as a slave, this is menial stuff, I'm not going to touch this. My vision is to lead a kingdom, to lead a king, to be as a king over a nation, so I'm going to wait for that to happen, which is what most people do. You're like, no, this church choir is so small, I'm called to sing on the international stage, so I'm not going to sing in this choir, it's too small for me, I'll wait for the big break to actually sing. Or no, I can't be caught starting this kind of small business, making a few dollars a day, that's too small for me. The vision God showed me, I'm an international business leader, and I'm going to, in quotes, wait for that. And that is the biggest problem people have today. So if you want clarity as far as your vision and your purpose is concerned, you don't wait, you go with the little that you have, meaning you get started on it. David, our next character, after being anointed king at 16, he didn't sit around and say, wow, I've been destined to lead Israel, I can't wait for Saul to die so that I'll take over the kingdom or something. But between 16 and 30, we're having 14 years of David effectively kinging, or leading, or literally just living out his purpose until the full realization of what he saw at the beginning materialized, from killing the lions and the bears, to taking out Goliath, to leading the armies of Israel to make sneak attacks and beat up the Philistines. And even besides that, when the opportunity came to go to the palace, this time around, not as a king, he's told, come and sing for the king, so that the evil spirit that is troubling him would leave him. He didn't say, no, that's not what I saw in my vision, I'm called to lead, so once you are ready for me as a leader, I'm going to come in and just swoop in and lead. No, he was willing to move with the little information he had, the little opportunities, take advantage of those. And it's singing for the king that he made friends with the Normally, the person was supposed to be the successor, the king's son Jonathan, and Jonathan was even the one willingly handed over the nation to him, because you can't just succeed by a coup d'etat. You have to have the royalty transferred to you, which out of their friendship, Jonathan willingly handed it over to him. And that's why his dad was so mad at him. And our next character, we have Esther. In the midst of a genocide, or at least a planned genocide for her people, the people of Israel, Esther found herself in the same place where many of us today find ourselves as far as purpose is concerned. So we have an idea what we are supposed to do, but we have no idea how we are supposed to go about it. But if we learn from the words that Mordecai spoke to Esther, he says, how do you know that it was not for a time like this that God elevated you as queen? And all what Esther had to do was to move, to take a step in the direction, not knowing what's going to happen, but she's not going to just sit there and wait for a clearer picture or a step-by-step tutorial directives from heaven. Many people today know Myles Munroe as an excellent speaker and teacher of the word, but once you listen to his sermons and you hear about his story, he began interacting with God's word as early as 13 years, became a music star as early as 16. So you're looking at from that till the time when he was exposed to the international stage at about his mid-30s. He himself says he had to teach in a very small space that they were renting as their church for more than 10 years before a quote-unquote big break opportunity for the international stage came calling. He often shares that he has written down his vision of what he saw himself doing, advising presidents and flying his own jet and leading leaders across the globe. But he didn't sit around waiting for that to happen suddenly. But he didn't also know how that is going to happen either. But one thing he knew to do was to work on the little he has in hand, meaning to move and run with what you have. So you don't say you're going to wait for the big stage. If you have a small stage, act effectively on that small stage as though it was the big stage, and then the big stage is going to come. Just to make a recap and summary of all what we are seeing in this video, the point is simple. If you want to see something clearer, what do? You move closer to that object. If you want to see a mountain clearer, you want to see a tree from a distance better, you don't stand there and ask the mountain to come to you or the object to come to you. If you're looking at something, you're seeing that, okay, there's something ahead there, but I'm not quite sure what it is. It's not so clear. What do? You move closer to the objective, and the closer you get to it, the clearer it becomes. And that's exactly what happens with purpose. So if you want more clarity as far as your purpose is concerned, then move closer to your purpose by working on the little information and resources that you have received at the moment. You don't have to wait for the big stage and the big spotlight to manifest. Because you're called to manifest, all you have to do is manifest, and then the big stage and the big spotlights will eventually present themselves. So you literally have no control over the future. Joseph had no control over whether he was going to be sold into slavery or not, and whose house he was going to end up with, and which warden in prison he was going to end up with, and which fellow prisoners' dreams he was going to interpret. So he had no idea about those things. So given that you don't know which one or which person, which opportunity would be the winning ticket, you have to treat every one of them with passion and excellence, meaning you live about giving your best, kinging or being a king and leading and being excellent at everything that comes your way, because one of those is eventually going to open the next door towards you fulfilling and realizing your purpose. So whatever you do, leave this video and stop waiting. Things are not going to get clearer, or any clearer at least, by you waiting. They only get clearer when you move closer to them. So start acting, start leading, start kinging, start giving your best. And just like the stories of the characters who have seen here, likewise, your purpose will begin to unfold right before your eyes as you move closer to it. So that's it for this video. I hope you are blessed by it. Then please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with 1 or 2 friends. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss our next video. A big shout out to our Patreons. Thank you so much for helping us create content like this. So you too can support the channel. The link is down below. I'm Brother Jumesi from Wisdom for Dominion. Thank you for watching, and until the next video, stay blessed.